So over the weekend, Donald Trump showed up at the National Libertarian Convention in Washington, D.C. He took the stage, he got some cheers, he got some boos, mostly boos, trying to win over libertarian voters. The next day, they decided that they were going to vote and nominate their presidential candidate for 2024. And they decided on a man by the name of Chase Oliver. Now, typically, that libertarian candidate is going to draw more from the right than from the left. So that candidate typically draws more of Donald Trump's voters than Joe Biden. However, this particular candidate doesn't necessarily seem like a traditional right-wing guy. So what I'm going to do is play a couple of clips of this guy talking about some fairly hot-button issues for people in the United States right now. So the first clip I'm going to play you is him talking about the southern border of the United States. So let's hear from Chase himself on the border.
And I'm here because I want to break some myths about immigration in this country. There's a lot of things that statists try to sell you as ideas that are actually nothing more than scare tactics or false statistics and things that aren't true. And so let's talk about this. First, if you ask people who live here or know the community here, people who are coming to this country just want to work for the most part. They are not seeking to take our welfare. And in fact, you're 3 times more likely to go into a welfare program as a native-born citizen than as a migrant. And so the truth is a lot of these folks are actually working. They use a fake social security number because they don't have documentation, so they pay into the system, and they never get those benefits back. And so when we're talking about immigration here, we need to understand this, that these people are just trying to seek a better life. And when you see fences like this, these kinds of things belong more in dystopian totalitarian states like East Germany that would separate East and West Berlin. These walls prevent commerce. These walls prevent peaceful people from being able to move freely about and spend their money or their labor or their time either in Mexico or here in the United States.
So he continues on there, but I'm not going to make any comments yet. Let's listen in to hear what he has to say about Drag Queen Story Hour for kids.
Drag queens are not what you call family-friendly kind of entertainment.
Okay, but a man in a dress is what drag is, right? Let's just be real. A man in a dress or a woman in a suit is what drag is. Mm-hmm. That is not inherently sexual. There is inherently sexual drag. And you're not going to convince me. I mean, I'm not going to defend otherwise. There absolutely is. But there's also the ability to perform as a man in a wig without being sexual. And that is what this is. And I guarantee you, if you act like I said, I went for myself because I was like, why are there people protesting this thing? I want to see what this drag queen story time is myself. And I want to see what it is. And nothing sexual was going on. And I think that is the truth for 99% of this. And I think
would you take your kids to a drag queen story hour? Or would you drop them off at a drag queen story hour? And
I don't think that's what happens. Most of the time, the parents are right there with the kids. But
I'm asking you, would you drop your kids off at a drag queen story hour and come back an hour later?
Would you drop your kids off at a movie? Yeah.
So there you have it. You hear his stance on the border. You hear his stance on Drag Queen Story Hour. It goes on. These are tweets from him in the past. This is talking about Georgia's laws banning trans kids from playing in women's sports, or trans males or trans women. I'm always confused with this. Trans women playing in female sports. It says, it seems Georgia is poised to become another state which finds trans kids playing school sports to be important enough to rise to the need for legislation. It's targeting a small community for political points. It's a shame and will harm the small number of trans athletes. Okay. This is from March of 2023. Happy that kids with cancer and other kids can get the health care they need. I'm disappointed that the legislature decided to limit therapies and care specifically for young people who may be trans or non-binary. Okay, interesting, Chase. And then finally it says, the best way to export liberty is with an open border. Open borders, that doesn't sound very Trumpian, the guy who wants to build the wall. Let money and people and goods move freely and let markets and peoples flourish. Border control in its current form is a central planning that doesn't work. hashtag abolish ICE. Now, does this sound like the type of guy that is going to pull more Trump voters or Biden voters? It's definitely somebody who's going to take more Biden voters than Trump voters. And he is openly gay. I think he's the first nominee for president, not first candidate, but first nominee for president to be openly gay. He's going to be on the ticket for the Libertarians. Who do you think that this guy is going to pull from? This is a dream scenario for Donald Trump. If I'm Donald Trump, I'm spending money promoting this guy in the states that matter the most: Nevada, Arizona, Michigan, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, Georgia. I'm putting these ads in the most liberal parts of those states to not convince those people to vote for Donald Trump, but to get the people that are on the left side of the aisle that are sick of Joe Biden, vote for this guy. First openly gay nominee in U.S. history to be on a presidential ticket. You could be part of the revolution and vote for this guy. It's a slam dunk if you're Donald Trump. I think that anyone who thinks he's going to take more votes away from Trump than Biden is out of their mind. This isn't your typical libertarian, not the libertarians that I was used to seeing talking in, the past 5, 10, 15, 20 years, whatever it was. Definitely a more progressive. He is a former Democrat, moved to an independent, now a libertarian. He's basically a neo-Marxist with a budget. So it's pretty interesting to see that this is the person they nominated. So either the libertarians are extremely smart, knowing that the people that nominated him, at least, knowing that they don't want Joe Biden, that this guy's more likely to take votes away from Joe Biden than Donald Trump, or they just don't give a shit and they're just going to nominate somebody that doesn't fit the typical mold for libertarians. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. I think that this is a home run for Donald Trump.